As the 2018 regular season in the United Soccer Leagues comes to a close, Portland Timbers 2 and Reno 1868 FC are battling it out for playoff positioning. T2 already in, Reno 1868 looking to clinch that berth, but all but in to this point in the season, as tonight's clash here at Merlo Field in Portland, Oregon will go a long way to determining where these teams finish and head into the playoffs. And with that, we welcome you into the broadcast booth here at Merlo Field on the campus of the University of Portland, alongside two-time MLS Cup champion and former Portland Timbers defender Nat Borchers. I'm Fletcher Johnson. Nat, these two sides, really intriguing matchup tonight. They faced off a couple times this year, but with so much on the line, we expect to see some dynamic soccer this evening.
And it's very similar teams. Both teams coming in on the same amount of points. Both teams have 3 wins out of their last 5. Both teams with identities and both teams with something to play for tonight, which makes it even more intriguing for this matchup.
For Portland Timbers 2, incredible success under Cameron Knowles in his first year. Ian Russell on the other side of things has experienced a lot of success. We'll get more into that during the course of the match. But right now, let's take a look at the standings in USL's Western Conference. And as you see, T2 and Reno both on the same amount of points. T2's already clinched their playoff berth. Reno needs just 1 point from their final 3 matches to do the same.
And it's almost a dress rehearsal for the playoffs. Both of these teams could end up facing each other, and there's so much in terms of home field advantage, in terms of getting into the playoffs for Reno, and for Portland just making sure they continue their fine form.
One of the big reasons for Reno's success is Brian Brown, and he is our player to watch tonight. Brian Brown, the forward, 25 years old from Sandy Bay, Jamaica, 16 goals this season. He leads the team this year and is the all-time leading goal scorer for Reno with 19 in his career.
And all successful teams need a clinical goal scorer, and this is what Brian Brown does. He finishes the chances, and look for his movement, especially off of Hopeno. He and Hopeno have such a great relationship, and he's going to be a difference maker for this Reno team, especially in the box.
Meanwhile, the success that T2 has experienced has been because so many players have been able to stay in their same roles. And we're looking at 2 of them right here, and Renzo Zambrano on the left, Andre Lewis on the right, both making their 30th appearance in defensive midfield this evening.
And these 2 are the heartbeat of this T2 team. They do so much defensively to cover that back line. They've got a fantastic relationship, and when they win the ball, they are so important to the rhythm and the heartbeat of that possession for this T2 club.
Both of these teams are in the top 11 in goals scored with over 50 apiece, so we expect to see some fireworks tonight as basically full-strength sides for both teams minus a player. It's the 3rd matchup between Portland and Reno here in 2018. Reno got the better of Portland back here in April and then got the better of Portland again down in Nevada. Can Portland find 3 points at home in their home finale here in 2018 regular season? We'll get you starting lineups and opening kickoff from Merlo Field next. Back on the bluff here at the University of Portland, as we are just about set for Portland Timbers 2 and Reno 1868 FC in what should be an important clash when it comes to playoff positioning for both of these sides. T2 hoping that in this, the first time they've ever clinched a playoff berth, have the opportunity to host a game once we get to the postseason. Let's go ahead and take a look at our starting lineups. We'll start off with the visiting side, Reno 1868. And as you see, Brent Richards, former Portland Timbers player out there on the right side of the defense. And then Antoine Hopineau is the guy who stirs the drink for this side.
And I'm really going to be looking for that right side on the attack. Brent Richards likes to get forward. Seth Sibley comes inside and really gives him the opportunity to get forward. And Hopineau certainly creating all the opportunities for Brian Brown up top.
Meanwhile, for T2, Jimmy Mulligan will start at right back. It's just his second start since August 5th, was such a big part of this team early on in the year. And then the attacking three from left to right, Barmby, Anguiano, and Loria will look to create a lot under Langsdorff.
And it's always fun seeing these attacking three together. And I look specifically at Marvin Loria and just his ability to get on the ball, to run at that back line and to create chances. And then Foster Langsdorff, can he get in the box and can he be dangerous, especially when the ball gets wide?
And Langsdorff will be looking to end his goalless drought. He sat on 14, was one back of the lead in the league, but has not scored since August 22nd. So, you know, he'd like to get on the score sheet. Momentum as this T2 side heads toward the playoffs. You look at Matt Bersano, the goalkeeper for Reno 1868. Our head referee is Malik Badawi. He blows his whistle, and we are underway from Merlot Field. Portland Timbers 2 and Reno 1868. T2 16, 12, and 4 on the season, 52 points. Reno 1868, meanwhile, 14, 10, and 7 also on 52 points. Part of the reason that T2 is already in the playoffs is because of those tiebreakers, including overall wins. Of course, Portland with 2 more than Reno 1868. Worth mentioning, as Jadama's pressured in the back here by Brown, gets it out to Mulligan, that April 21st match, Reno 1868 came into this building, were down at halftime, scored 2 goals in the second half to earn the victory. They were 0-3-1 coming into that match. They picked up a win there. They would reel off 16 unbeaten starting that evening, and that is really what has led to the success for this Reno 1868 side here in 2018. They rode a big wave here early on in the season, though have been playing some pretty good soccer as of late as well.
And I remember talking to Seth Sibley before that game. He talked about how this team had so much experience, how they had so much belief in the locker room, how they really enjoyed the formation that they played in, and they were really struggling to figure out why they were 0-3-1 and struggling to start the season. And then, of course, they get that come from behind victory, and you need victories like that to spark momentum, and certainly it did. And then, obviously, they went on a big-time run, which changed things for their season.
16 unbeaten was the club record. They had 10 wins in that stretch as well, so 36 points total in that run of the 52 that they currently sit on, and have 6 results in their last 7 matches, including 4 wins. As the ball's back to Mangles, making his 14th start of the season for T2. Shuttled back and forth with Kendall McIntosh. McIntosh has played big and did in that match against Sacramento, a tough loss for T2 over the weekend, 1-0. Kendall McIntosh stepped up and made some big saves in that match to keep it close against a team that Portland was trying to defeat on their home field ahead of the playoffs, as those two teams sit so close to one another in the standings.
And you can already see the pressure that Reno puts on this T2 team. They're not afraid to play a little bit higher up. They're very organized. They really pinch the middle of that field and make it difficult, and that's where T2 wants to play. That's where their best players are on the ball, so certainly it's going to be important for T2 to spread the field, be brave when playing out, and definitely don't want to turn the ball over in their defensive third of the field.
T2 has never defeated Reno 1868. They did pick up a draw in June of 2017, but aside from Nevada, has had the better of T2 in their short 2-year existence, with 4 wins and that previously mentioned draw. Sent into the middle, chested down and knocked away by Lewis. Jadama, a loose touch in front of Brown, plays it back to Mangles, who clears to midfield. Hit it back and forth, and now Langsdorff able to deflect a pass. He's in on goal. We'll try and chip Bersano, and it's a little high. Great chance there for Langsdorff in the 4th minute.
We can see Foster Langsdorff just getting in behind that back line quickly on a fortuitous bounce. Goes for the chip. Doesn't come off right, but you can see the idea. Certainly a good opportunity for T2 early on in this game. And Foster Langsdorff, he hasn't been as active on the goal scoring charts as we've seen him earlier in the season. It's been a little while since he's scored, and I think that for him and for this team, it's going to be important that he gets some chances on that early in this game.
Here is Loria into the box. Will take a shot near post and can't quite put it on frame. He's saying it was deflected, but Badawi says it is a goal kick.
And you can see Reno backline playing very, very high, and then it's easy for Loria to get in there behind. He opts to go with his right foot here on the shot, his weaker foot. It just goes wide to the side of the goalkeeper. Doesn't test him, but certainly you can see the reason they're getting in behind is because this Reno team likes to high press, and there's going to be opportunities in there for Langsdorff and Loria to get in behind.
Will certainly be a miss tonight for Portland in that Victor Arboleda is not available in the 18. Picked up a knee injury, still not sure about the extent to which it could cause him to miss further matches. But Arboleda, obviously a speedy player out on the wing, not available for Cameron Knowles here this evening, as Mulligan, no penalty called as he keeps the ball in play. Dangerous there, as it was Hopino who was attacking Mulligan. And T2 may have gotten away with one. We'll have to wait to see the replay once we get a stoppage in play.
Yeah, and it looked like the referee was going to blow his whistle, then thought twice about it. So certainly going to be interesting to look at this replay. Could
have been a dangerous play there in the 5th minute for T2.
But you talk about Victor Arboleda and the loss, losing him. He's been such a dangerous player for T2 this season. He's come in the team, out of the team, and as you'll see here, a little 1v1 here, and Jimmy Mulligan doing a good job there. A little bit of contact. I think the player goes down there very easily for Reno, so a good no call from the referee.
Down on the other end, Langsdorff with his work rate earns a corner kick. And Malik Badawi pull a Reno player over to have a conversation. That's Antoine Hopino, player who went down in the box on the other end, complaining probably a little bit, and Badawi telling him to quiet down.
Yeah, but it's interesting. The referee did think about it, thought very hard about it, but obviously I think Hopino goes down a little bit too easy. Good no call.
Maybe a little nerves early on in this match. You see Reno playing the high line. Langsdorff tries to chip the keeper after he gets in behind, and then Mulligan in the challenge on Hopino in the 18-yard box. Here comes Loria's cross towards the penalty spot. Header won by Diz Pay, and it's off the crossbar.
And this is a well-served ball into the box here. As you see, Diz Pay just coming off clean, nobody marking him. As you can see, he goes backwards for it, so he can't get as much pressure or as much force on the ball, but very good opportunity there for T2.
Seemed like had he been able to turn it on frame, he had Bersano beat.
Yeah, you can feel that, Fletch. This is it's a playoff type atmosphere already for both of these teams. That the players are on edge a little bit. There's some nerves. The game needs to soften a bit. The referee's on edge, as you can tell, and very important for both teams to get a result.
Great hold up play by Loria to keep possession. Spun out by Zambrano to Mulligan. Anguiano, his first real action, will play it to Mulligan into the box. Will cross it back to Barmby, and his shot is blocked. I believe that was Kasipli that got in there to block that shot, and an important block it was.
And this is really well worked for T2 attacking wise. It just working in that channel, overloading with Anguiano. Nice turn there. Finds Mulligan on the overlap, who cuts it back across to Barmby. Gets it on his right foot, but it's a great sliding tackle from Kasipli to avoid the shot there.
Here comes Loria's cross. This one floated more towards the back post. Header up in the air by Reno and out for a T2 throw. So Reno side that's had a lot of success this year in terms of defending in the top 10 in USL in goals allowed. They've only allowed 37 so far this season. So it will be a big ask for Portland to break down this Reno defense.
And watching them in their last game against Tulsa, they just do a great job of having a sense of urgency and organization in their defensive style. And I think it's just comes from Ian Russell. He was that kind of a player. He liked to play organized soccer, liked to play a 4-4-2. And it seems like all players understand their roles defensively on this team.
Another corner kick earned for Portland, their third of the evening, and it'll once again be Loria to take. Towards a penalty spot. Looks like Batista got his leg on it, didn't know much about it. Now to Anguiano, back to Loria. T2 with some extended build-up here inside the first 10 minutes. Lewis will take the shot. Had Bersano diving to his right. Relatively easy stuff for him, as Lewis took that shot from about 30 yards away.
And T2 asking all the questions right now. Really bright start for them. I think Cam Knowles will be very happy with this so far.
Reno brings it down the left side. Lacroix defended by 2. Leaves it for Brown, corner of the box. And great defensive work by Mulligan to win it away. Now Anguiano will look to break. T2 don't have numbers. They'll slow things up. And now play down the line for Loria, too far out in front of him. Guy Abend ends up with the ball at his feet. Arturo Dizpay, a little bit of a revelation is himself since he came into this T2 side. And Zambrano doing what he does so well, winning a tackle and winning the ball back for his team.
That's great work from Zambrano. Dizpay not with a poor ball there, and Zambrano just having to clean things up. Whenever Hopino gets on the ball, if you're on the T2 backline, you have to be very, very careful, because he has the vision. He's got the quality to slip that final pass into the guy likes of a Brian Brown. So you have to be very careful on those turnovers.
Yeah, Antoine Hopino, second year with the team, was the 2017 co-MVP of this Reno side. 12 goals, 6 assists, 51 chances created last season. And actually had 69 appearances, 7 goals for the Philadelphia Union in MLS from 2012 to 2015.
Yeah, we'll see Zambrano here just cleaning things up in the back. A nice clean challenge on Hopino, who just exposes the ball there. And that's what Zambrano does really well, is he just tracks back. He acts sometimes as a number 6 when he needs to be number 8. Get chances on goal. Really has had a nice season so far.
Zambrano leads the team in minutes played. The most consistent piece, as Reno earns a corner kick. Their first of the evening. And it will be Chris Wehan to walk over and take it. Had 12 assists in 2017, just 3 assists so far this year. Not quite as big of a role on the stat sheet, but certainly an important part of the success that Reno has had in 2018. Send this one in. Aben looked like he got ahead to it, and then it was blocked by Mulligan, cleared away as far as Anguiano. Anguiano, that's going to be a tough battle for him all evening long. Not the biggest frame, and he's knocked off the ball there. Now Brown with it, defended by Batista. Batista does well to block it, but it's out for another corner kick, the second of the night for Reno.
And Batista unlucky there. I thought the ball had gone off Brian Brown, but some good defending there from Batista. Keeps his feet moving. Very important for him to have a good night tonight. As you can see, Brian Brown just lines him up 1v1. Batista keeps him moving to the sideline there. Brown has no choice but to try to cross it off him. It's good defending.
Lamar Batista making his 13th start of the season. We pressed into action on this corner kick. Wehan over to the near side to take. Doesn't get past the first man, actually controlled by Loria. Not sure if he meant to do that, but could send T2 on the counterattack. Anguiano full gate from him as the ball's played back to Berzano. Plenty of space for him to settle things down a bit, and Reno will attack the other direction.
As you can see, Reno is not afraid to play out of the back. They have some very good players, and they play with bravery. Certainly, if you want to high press them, you do so at your own peril, because each one of those players, especially in the midfield, has the quality to turn and play that pass that takes them out of possession.
Here comes Mulligan up the far side. Early cross in, just out in front of Langsdorff. Gives him a thumbs up. Bersano's been active here in the first quarter hour.
I think T2 need to continue to attack down that side. They're doing a good job of just getting overloads into that channel. And when you're playing against a team that plays in a diamond formation, getting that midfield moving side to side and playing the balls into those wide areas and those channels is just so important, because it really unlocks them and it forces them to move. And really, as the game goes on, it can really pay dividends, especially in later stages of the game.
Just about the perfect night for soccer here in Portland. Mid-60s, dip down probably into the 50s by the end of the match, as Barbie tries to play over the top for Langsdorff and headed away by Brenton Griffiths.
Yeah, we've been in this broadcast box, Fletcher, where it's been steaming hot, so it's nice to see things have cooled off a little bit for our own health.
Yeah, no, don't have to worry about the beard getting singed tonight as the match plays out with the sun shining into the booth.
No, we don't want that. That would be very, very bad.
Diagonal ball played by Zambrano in towards Langsdorff, who wasn't quite making the run, and Carroll was there to make sure that that ball made its way back to Bersano. Creativity, though, from Portland. Zambrano's been a big piece here in the last month and a half in terms of contributing on the stat sheet. I mean, you look, and Zambrano has a goal or an assist in 5 of the last 8 matches for T2. Most recently, it was the winner against Las Vegas Lights very late on in the match to continue that unbeaten run that T2 went on up until this past weekend against Sacramento. Zambrano was a big reason why they had that success.
And we've seen him develop a lot this season, Fletcher, and I've just been really impressed by him. He reminds me of a young Steven Gerrard, just with his ability to get down box to box, good vision, good long passer of the ball, and certainly shooting from distance. He's been very, very deadly, and you know, he's got on the score sheet because of that work rate and because of those opportunities to shoot from distance.
Certainly seen some shifts in this match. Reno's had the better of the possession here in the last 5 minutes or so, but haven't really been able to create anything dangerous in front of goal. Now the pressure comes from Zambrano. He lays off. Badawi is ready to blow his whistle if need be. Now Richards. Central for Mafeka. Pass intercepted by Lewis. Forward for Langsdorff, into space for Anguiano. Now to Loria. Loria defended by Lacroix. Duke Lacroix celebrating a birthday later this month. Is able to pressure Loria enough, force the turnover.
It's going to be interesting to watch that matchup between those two players, because Loria, he's got the ability to fly, but I think Lacroix can match him in athleticism. And certainly every time Lacroix goes forward, there's going to be the opportunity for Loria to get in that space behind.
Strength from the 24-year-old Havana Cuba native Arturo Dizpay helps make sure Hopino doesn't get on the end of that long ball forward from Brent Richards. So just over a quarter hour in, Nat, what do you make of what we've seen so far?
Well, I think T2 has done a really good job of compacting the middle of the field. That's where this team wants to play, this Reno team, and they've done a really good job of making sure they can't find those entry passes.
Ball rolls all the way through for Hopino, defended by Batista. And he earns a corner. Batista was able to deflect the ball across the end line. Hopino went down. Not sure if he was looking for another potential point to the spot, but he does earn his team a corner kick.
Yeah, and again, it was very good defending, as we'll see here. Lamar Batista just forcing Hopino to go wide, gets a touch on the ball, just forces that ball into a corner kick opportunity.
So Weehan once again over to take. He was the 2017 USL Rookie of the Year. Try and serve a ball in that one of his teammates can get on the end of. This time doesn't get by Loria, but I think Loria may have gotten a deflection on it just enough, as Richards was making the run into the box to try and find his way onto the end of that one. But T2 clear across midfield. 18th minute now, as Weehan controls in front of Batista. Will take the shot. Mangles with the save. Brown goes down as he tries to finish it in the back of the net. And the first real opportunity of the night for the visitors comes in the 18th minute.
And this is what T2 need to be careful of. They're a little bit too narrow here, and the switching ball gets by Batista, and then Weehan is all alone on goal. The shot comes off. It's well saved from Mangles. And then Ryan Brown with the second opportunity, can't get it on net.
Important first real action for Alex Mangles, and it is a big time save he needs to make In 13 appearances has allowed 16 goals, so slightly over 1 goal per game. And you're pretty happy with that if you're Cameron Knowles for the 24-year-old Lafayette, California native.
And that's what you need as a goalkeeper early in the game. Just get yourself a save on the stat sheet, gets you involved, makes you feel good. You know, as a goalkeeper, you're not contributing as much as you are as a field player, so just so important to get that opportunity out of the way.
Get the best photography from around the league, plus highlights and updates throughout the week on the USL's official Instagram feed by following us at instagram.com/USL Soccer. Carroll beats out Anguiano to that ball. As we cross into the 20th minute, just joining us, Fletcher Johnson and Nat Borchers here with you at Merlot Field. Two teams both on 52 points. Looking for T2 improve their playoff position. For Reno, a point tonight would clinch a playoff berth for them.
And I think both teams doing a really good job of keeping the middle of the field compact, and both teams trying to play through there, and they just haven't done a good enough job. The game just hasn't softened enough. Guy Abend doing a nice job in the middle for Reno on that last play.
Ojadama, nearly a loose touch in front of Hopino, but keeps it away from him. And now Barmby, the switch into space for Mulligan, cut out by Lacroix. Here comes Casipli with a full pace forward, and nicely won once again by Renzo Zambrano. Batista hasn't gotten forward too much tonight, but a nice touch with the outside of his left foot there to find Jack Barmby. Barmby tries to work it around Carroll, cannot do so, but does earn a throw-in. Couple opportunities for both sides through 20 minutes here. It was Foster Langsdorff who tried to chip Matt Bersano in the 4th minute. Just a little bit too high. 7th minute, Arturo Dizpay off a corner kick. Put his header off the crossbar. And then just a couple minutes ago, Chris Weehan's shot was saved by Alex Mangles.
I think for T2, just getting out on the ball, getting in the rhythm here, making sure they're playing a little bit quicker, moving around that midfield block of Reno. It's just going to be so important. And then Renzo Zambrano and Andre Lewis in the midfield. Get on the ball and just get those switching balls, switch the point of attack, and that's going to really open things up on the wings for you to attack against this Reno team.
Here comes Lewis with space. We'll play it out to Barmby. Barmby, first time touch. Can't work it around his defender. Goes down in the box. Ball works its way through. No, we're going to see a yellow card to Jack Barmby for simulation is what I have to imagine that this card is being issued for. Barmby went down right inside the corner of the box. And it took a moment, but Malik Badawi blew his whistle, shows the yellow card to Jack Barmby, who is the first player to go in the book this evening.
As we can see, just Jack Barmby get on the ball, trying to play the ball into the box. Brent Richard gets a touch on it, and then looks like there might have been contact, but it was outside the box. I'm uncertain there as to where the contact would have been, but the referee obviously choosing to give the yellow card to Jack Barmby for simulation. And I think given the previous no call, I think that's fair. There was a little bit of contact on Hopino in the box from Mulligan. He doesn't make that call, so I think he's consistent by not making his call as well.
Barmby's 4th yellow card of the season. 23-year-old from Harlow, England. Came over in 2016 rather. On loan from Leicester City to the MLS Timbers. Certainly made his presence felt with this T2 side here in 2018.
And he's been good for T2, and we're used to seeing him on the right-hand side. Sometimes he shows up as the number 10 in this 4-2-3-1 that Cameron Knowles likes to play. But he's got really good vision. He's a good passer of the ball, and he's the kind of guy he can make that final pass. And for this team, to have a veteran, experienced player like Jack Barmby is very important.
Lewis keeps possession in front of Richards. Yeah, you talk about the success that both Loria and Barmby have had, as Loria has it at his feet now, 30 yards from the goal. A lot of it can be attributed to that player in that number 10 role. Early on in the year, T2 were trying to find that player. It eventually became Eric Williamson, who started the year in defensive midfield and really impressed with Carlos Anguiano, the 7th. Oregon, is tonight making his 9th appearance and 5th start. And despite being just 5'7" and 120 pounds, seems to play a lot larger than that and has really held his own so far here in his appearances in USL as Brown hits the cross, blocked by Jadama and cleared away by Batista.
Yeah, and as we saw earlier in the game when Anguiano got on the ball, got into that channel.
Bad turnover by Lewis. Now Brown into the box, down by the end line. Picks out Weehan, who goes central for Mafeka. And now the switch over to Lacroix.
This is a good little spell here from Reno. Just probing, just getting the ball inside, getting it outside, moving it around. T2's holding strong, but certainly you can tell where Reno wants to get the ball. They want to get the ball inside to Hopino. They want to get the ball to Brown. Very important that T2 keep that block of 6 tight and make sure that Barmby and Laurier are connected.
So back to what we were talking about with Anguiano. Small guy, not the biggest guy you're going to see on the field. He'll get bodied off the ball from time to time, but really has been able to allow Barmby and Laurier to play the way they want to out on the wings.
Yeah, he gives them the freedom to roam, and certainly he plays a lot bigger than his age would tell you. And I've been very impressed just with how quick he is for his age. He is smaller in stature, but he doesn't need to be a big player to make those final passes. And with the skill he has, he can definitely be a dangerous player for T2.
Seth Kasipli offside. The flag raised from Eduardo Jeff here on the near side. CJ Cole is our far side official, and Billy Baldwin is our 4th official this evening. Well, T2's experienced some success here as of late at home, 4-1-0 over their last 5 home matches. You would think that, similar to the MLS Timbers, that Portland would have a fortress at home. It's been a tough year this year, though. They haven't had as many wins as you might think. But one thing that we know for certain, Nat, is it was win or lose. T2 has not drawn at home this year.
Yeah, it's interesting looking at the results throughout the year to see that they haven't gotten any draws at all at home. It's almost been like, hey, we're either gonna go all out and win, or it's just we're gonna lose this game. Obviously, not be able to shut things down. I think late in games they've given up goals, which has hurt them at home. But I think that it's encouraging for Cam Knowles to see that in the last 5 games they've gotten 4 results at home, and you need to make home your fortress, because that's what gets you into the playoffs in most leagues in this world, and certainly for this USL league, you have to do well at home.
Yeah, I mean, you look at T2's chase for a home playoff game, and you can really look back to a stretch that T2 had in mid-June, basically into early July. They had 4 matches, 3 of which were at home, and they lost all 3 of those home matches, lost the one on the road as well at Reno. But they lost 3 straight matches at home, 2-1, 4-1, and 4-2 to Oklahoma City, Colorado Springs, and Fresno FC. They get a point or 2 there, let alone a win or 2, and they're in potentially 2nd or 3rd place in the Western Conference. So that close, and it's a matter of moments as this ball's forward and cleared away by Diz Pay. Well, hasn't cleared it away yet. Now we'll chip it over the top for Mulligan.
And I think that was a big test for Cameron Knowles as a young coach, as a first-year coach, to go through a 4-game losing streak, losing games at home, and trying to figure out, okay, what do we need to change? What do we need to get right? And credit to him, he stuck with the formation, the 4-2-3-1. He's stuck with the identity. They like to play out. They like to high press. They obviously have some very special, talented players in that front 4, and it's obviously worked. The turnaround has been, I think, magnificent from last season to this season.
Watch highlights from every game of the 2018 season and stay up to date with news from across the USL at the league's official Facebook page, facebook.com/USL Soccer. So Reno certainly has grown into this match as we're nearly a half hour in.
And it's been interesting just to watch the interchange between Weehan and Mafeka, and Hopino and Brian Brown and Seth Kasipli. These guys are very good technical players, very smart players. And what really impresses me about this Reno team is how these players move off one another. And they just have a really good understanding of where to be when the ball is in certain areas of the pitch.
That ball went out of play. So T2 will have a restart as we have a chance to look at Cameron Knowles talking about him, 16-12-4 so far, and this is his first season as head coach. Spent the last 6 years as an assistant for the MLS Timbers and played actually for the Timbers when they were in the USL's first division from 2007 to 2010, assisted by a couple of guys he would consider his closest friends in Andrew Greger and Aiden Brown. Of course, Andrew Greger, the head coach for this T2 team the last couple seasons. And Cameron Knowles has spoken very highly about the value that he's brought as Hopino takes the quick shot and is wide to the right of Mangle's net. Bad turnover there from T2.
As this turnover just comes here from Zambrano, looks like he's just trying to get the ball back to the defender, but simply reads it, plays it to Hopino. Hopino trying to get an opportunity on goal. T2 certainly dodges a bullet there.
And really, you can make an argument that through the first half hour here, the best chances for Reno have come off of turnovers from Portland. So if they can clean some of that up, Reno really hasn't done that much in terms of creating their own without, you could say, a T2 mistake.
No, and I think that defensively, the structure of the organization, you expect that from Cam Knowles. He was a former center back, and we as center backs, we love to have structure and make sure that we know where everything is on the field, especially in the middle third in the low block. And you can see that they've done a nice job tonight of just making sure the middle of the pitch is secure, forcing everything wide. And then, yeah, the opportunities are going to come off mistakes. You got to clean those mistakes up and give yourself an opportunity in this game.
Reno quickly wins back the Jimmy Mulligan throw-in.
But you think, Fletcher, you talk about Cam Knowles and how difficult it is to coach a team when you don't know the starting lineup sometimes until 24 hours in advance. You don't always get to work with the same guys day in, day out, because you're getting some guys coming in from the Portland Timbers, and it's difficult, I think, to get guys to be on the same page, to always be up for it. In these moments that are defining for the team. And I think he's done a really, really good job of just blending all these personalities and all these different ages and experience levels and getting the best out of them.
Yeah, you've seen players like Dairon Asprilla, as well as Jeremy Abobasi, who's in the stands tonight, play for this USL Timbers 2 side and contribute in big ways for this team. But you're right. One of the things that has been more manageable for Cam Knowles this year is there has been a little bit more structure in terms of how player management goes between the MLS Timbers and Portland Timbers 2, as the foul is called on Marvin Loria. Both players down on the ground. Loria holding that right leg. Tough to see who's down for Reno over on that far side. Might be Duke Lacroix.
Yeah, this matchup between these two. Duke Lacroix can match the pace of Marvin Loria. Looks like just a little bit of a late challenge there from Marvin Loria as Duke Lacroix had won the ball. But I think that's going to be a tough matchup for Loria, because Duke Lacroix can absolutely fly, and Loria is used to beating guys for pace, and so certainly that's going to be a tough one for him.
Well, while both players get back to their feet, Ian Russell is the head man for Reno 1868. He's in his second year, was a two-time MLS Cup champion with the San Jose Earthquakes in 2001 and 2003, playing 7 MLS seasons over his career between San Jose and the LA Galaxy. Was an assistant with the Earthquakes from 08 through 2016, and actually was the interim manager in San Jose in 2014 after Mark Watson was fired in October of that year. Knows the Pacific Northwest well, originally drafted by the USL Sounders, as the offside flag comes up on Hopino there, and played his college soccer at the University of Washington.
Yeah, and Ian Russell's done a very good job with his club. 52 points on the year, almost on the precipice of achieving a playoff berth. And you look at the team he's put together, I think about experience, but I also think about depth. And he's talked about it in some of his interviews about how much depth this team has this year. You have a guy like Musovski, who's the leading goal scorer for this team early on the season. He goes down. You're able to have guys like Brian Brown step up, Antoine Hopino. You got a good back line that's got a ton of experience, and you just bring all these players and personalities together and make them all work, and that's the coach's job. And I think he's done a very good job, especially within the system of this 4-4-2. He's kind of, you know, he's gone through a diamond. Sometimes he's made it a flat 4 in the midfield at times, but he certainly has a system that he plays, and the players obviously understand the system very well with the results they've gotten.
Yeah, you can see the way that these two teams have played so far this evening. They're familiar with one another. They're not going to give up too much, as that attempt was a bit audacious from about 45, 50 yards away from Reno, as that was Chris Wehan. But they're feeling each other out, you know. They're trying to figure out where the spots are that they can take advantage of the opponent.
Yeah, and the word that comes to mind is tentative. I think both teams have gotten a little bit tentative now in this stage of the match, just trying to figure out, okay, where can we go now? We haven't really been successful with plan A, which is going down the middle of the pitch, and I think that the teams now need to figure out, okay, do we need to go wide? Do we need to go over the top? You know, what's the next best step for us to be successful and get a chance on goal?
One of the most unique stats is Abend picks off the pass from Lewis. We'll get to the stat in a moment as Reno brings this one to the corner of the 18. It ends up in a throw for T2. And it speaks to kind of the tentativeness around this game. It's something we mentioned in previous matches, Nat, but T2, when they're outshot by their opponent, they're 10-4-3. So when their opponent gets more shots than them, they're 10-4-3, whereas when they outshoot their opponent, they're 5-7-1. So they almost would rather have less of the ball, less of the opportunity, but T2's conversion rate is so good and they take such good advantage of their opportunities that it allows them to win a lot of those matches in which maybe they didn't boss it, so to speak.
Yeah, and that may explain a little bit more why they haven't been as good at home and they've been very, very good on the road this year, is because they're a team that does like to transition. They like to absorb pressure, and they don't need to or want to boss the game. I think every team wants to get on the ball and look pretty on the ball, but it doesn't always lead to effectiveness. It doesn't always lead to goals scored or wins. And sometimes it's okay to sit back and absorb pressure, even when you're at home, when it allows your opponent to open up and then it exposes them, they can get in behind.
Some action from both of the sidelines there as Wehan and Batista went in on a challenge against one another. It in the end is just a throw for Reno. 36th minute, still scoreless between two teams tied for 5th place in the Western Conference. As Lacroix dribbles into the box, gets around Mulligan, and this one deflects into the back of Portland's net, and the visitors have taken the lead in the 36th minute.
Duke Lacroix just really showing his speed there. Just Jimmy Mulligan sits off him, allows him to get in, and then he just goes for the shot there, and unfortunately just deflects off of Jimmy Mulligan, or sorry, Alex Mangel's left foot, it looks like. Just deflects off there and just goes in. Very unfortunate from the goalkeeper there, but a very good attacking moment from this Reno team, finding that opportunity on the edge and then just driving at the defender and getting the cross off.
So they will give Duke Lacroix credit for the goal, his first of the season, and my, what a moment it comes in. If this result holds, not only does Reno 1868 clinch their playoff spot, but they would move above Portland in the standings.
Yeah, and certainly Alex Mangels will want to have that one back, get his feet right there, and maybe be off the edge a little bit more so that ball doesn't deflect into his own net. And certainly I think Jimmy Mulligan as well could do a better job of getting out to Lacroix a little bit sooner and making sure he can't run at him like that.
Here comes Mulligan into the box, heavy touch, and cleared away by Griffiths. Into space though, it'll be picked up by Batista. Batista should have left it for Zambrano because he dribbled it right into the path of Mafika. Now to Brown. He's 1v1 versus Jadama. Brown leaves the ball behind briefly, back at his feet, will play central. Reno out to the lead now. Can Portland find an equalizer before the break? Talk about the importance for Portland to be in a positive position at the break. They're just 2-6-0 when they trail at the half, 8-2-2 when they lead at the half, is Portland. So some work to be done here. And now, how does this really change the mindset for what Portland wants to do, or does it change the mindset?
You know, well, again, we talk about this is a team that sometimes doesn't like to boss the game and be in control. But now, if you're down a goal, you have to come out. You have to get more of the ball. You have to go at your opponent a bit more. So I think that for T2, they have plenty of time. They've got another 7 minutes in this half. They got another 45 minutes after that. They have to be a bit patient, but I think they need to turn up the urgency, the sense of urgency, especially in possession, especially in transition, if they're going to go and get a goal on this Reno team.
We mentioned earlier the success Reno's had lately, 6 results in the last 7 matches. They look like a team that's in rhythm right now as we get towards the latter stages of the season. Yeah,
they really do. And again, I mean, it's a team that can possess the ball. They're very organized defensively, and those are the 2 pillars you need.
As Brown gets his head to it and puts it just wide. Nearly double the lead in the 40th.
And again, it's coming down this left-hand side here. Duke Lacroix with a nice ball inside. Brown, just a late run. Nobody picks him up. If he can get that thing a little bit more inside, it's going to be a goal for him. T2's got to clean that up. Certainly got to pick him up in the box and get out to Duke Lacroix. Make sure they close him down on that cross.
The USL made history this past weekend as the league passed 2.5 million in total attendance for the 2018 season. Thank you to all of the fans who have made this the highest attended lower division season in North American soccer history. Sensing a bit of frustration now from T2, maybe not getting some calls, things just not quite going their way here inside the final 5 minutes of the first half. And Mulligan dispossessed. Numbers forward for Reno. Cross into the box. Jadama hits it straight up into the air outside the box. And then Anguiano able to do enough to get it to Dizpay, who clears the midfield, but right back to Kasipli, 30 yards from goal. Quick cross in. Mishit header by Jadama. Brown will chase it down in front of Barmby. His path leaves something to be desired, but Barmby working it around his defender. Carroll comes over to clean it up. Here comes Loria in space. Not sure what Loria was looking for there. A little too heavy for Anguiano. Barmby puts his hands on his head. He was making a big run down the left-hand side, had tons of space in front of him, but Loria didn't see him.
And we really haven't seen enough of Barmby or Loria in this half, and I think it's going to be important for those two to rhythm for the team and to get back on the ball, get that ball moving a little bit quicker, and then Anguiano as well. You know, we haven't seen much of him. Reno's done a nice job of really compacting the center of the pitch. Been very hard for him to find space.
There's Anguiano making a run forward, but that ball too much on it. Bersano quickly off his line to collect.
I think early on, T2 had the right ideas, just getting in behind that back line. They are pressing up very, very high. There are opportunities to run in behind, and they just need somebody in that midfield or that back line to play that final ball, and then the run has to be there for T2.
Sipley. Back to Griffiths. Brenton Griffiths. 27-year-old, another Jamaican on this Reno side. Spent 2013 and 14 with the Colorado Rapids, did Brenton Griffiths. After that, made 58 appearances, scoring 6 goals with the Orange County Blues, now known as Orange County FC. Here's Hopino into Weehan. Too much on it for Weehan to control it, but he chases it down near the end line. Back to Richards. And Reno once again with the majority of possession here as we approach the end of the first half. Even when T2 win the ball back, they just don't have numbers forward.
No, and they're really forcing T2 back with their possession, just building, making sure that T2's got to bring numbers back, and that makes it very, very hard to, when they do transition, when they do win the ball, to get numbers forward. So I think in these opportunities right now, when T2 are on the ball, they need to move the ball, move it quick, make sure they maintain that possession, but then find those seams, find those opportunities to play the final ball and make some dangerous runs. If we need to see Foster Langsdorff and Anguiano, balls like that, it'll be very difficult for T2 to find opportunities.
And frustration building in the side. Barmby and Jadama having a word with one another about how they should attack this Reno side to really give themselves the best opportunity to equalize. Here's Mafika. His pass cut out by Mulligan. Medford, New York native Jimmy Mulligan played for MLS Timbers coach Giovanni Savarese with the New York Cosmos from 2014 to 2017. Making his 23rd appearance and 21st start of the season. Dispay wins the header back to Mangles in front of Hopino. So right now, Duke Lacroix's deflected goal off of Alex Mangles is the difference between these two sides. Back in the 36th minute.
And Cameron Knowles will be very disappointed at giving up that goal, because T2 had defended just so well up to that point in time, really forcing the ball to get wide, forcing those opportunities where the outside backs are just 1v1 with the wingers, and that's fine at times, but certainly disappointing to give up that type of goal when you've defended so well.
Get an inside look at life on and off the field from a player's perspective every Wednesday evening in the latest edition of From the Pitch on USLsoccer.com. Does T2 have a final push forward here? Early indications are that we will not see any stoppage time here at the end of the first half. Really haven't seen any stoppages. And indeed, no stoppage time after the first 45 minutes as Malik Badawi blows his whistle. Nat, T2 find themselves down a goal here at the break. Your thoughts on the first 45 minutes?
Yeah, I thought T2 did a great job initially with their defending and getting in behind Reno early on, but then Reno scoring that goal, now they have control. They've got the possession, they've got the ball. Now T2 need to come out in the second half and bring some energy, bring some fire, create some chances, and get that next goal.
Well, back on April 21st here in this building, it was the exact opposite scoreline. T2 had a 1-0 lead at the break, only to see Reno 1868 score 2 goals in the second half and walk away winners. Can Portland do the same to their rival here this evening? We'll find out as we'll get you the halftime stats, highlights, and more coming up at the break, followed by the second half of action. Reno 1868 up 1-0 over T2 here at Merlo Field through 45 minutes. sun is set here at Merlo Field in Portland, Oregon, as Reno 1868 FC has the lead over Portland Timbers 1-0 here at the break. Let's go ahead, take you around the rest of USL and give you a look at some of the scores happening on this busy Wednesday evening in the league. See Real Monarchs 2-1 over OKC Energy. That one is a final. Seattle Sounders 2 on top of LA Galaxy 2-1. And Sacramento Republic continuing to build on the season that they've had, up 1-0 in the first half on Swope Park Rangers. So certainly those matches, some of which will have an effect on the playoff positioning. But certainly this one here tonight between Portland Timbers 2 and Reno 1868, the most important. And as we took a look at news and notes from around the league, USL in the midst of a rebrand. USL champions, USL League 1 and USL League 2, similar to what we see over in England on that front. Meanwhile, Division 3 Madison, that out of Wisconsin, announces their head coach Daryl Shore, who takes over after earning his coaching license in a 12-month program last year. And Tampa Bay Rays, the Major League Baseball team, have bought the Tampa Bay Rowdies, so a new era for the club down in Florida. Nat, what do you make of what we see there?
I think goalkeeper coach at Real Salt Lake, happy for him, kudos for him to get that job. And certainly when a Major League Baseball team takes over a soccer team, it's always interesting to see what happens.
No doubt about it. All right, we welcome you into the broadcast booth once again. Fletcher Johnson and Nat Borchers here with you. And Nat, we look at the first half, and I'm sure Cameron Knowles will be a little disappointed with not only the goal being scored, but just kind of the overall performance from his team in the first half.
Yeah, I think after the first 15 minutes, it wasn't very good for T2. I think the energy wasn't quite right. I don't think the passes were being connected like they should be. And I think that Cam Knowles is probably going to have some strong words for his team at halftime, given the nature of this result being so important for the playoff implications for this club. So certainly I expect to see a reaction from this team in the second half if they're going to want to get points out of this.
With that being said, Portland had a couple different opportunities early on as we look back at the first half highlights. Starting in the 4th minute, Foster Langsdorff tried to chip the keeper.
Yeah, fortuitous for Foster Langsdorff, just trying to get that ball over the goalkeeper, but it's a good touch just to get into space and find that ball, trying to get it over the goalkeeper. Doesn't come off, though.
Just a couple minutes later, one of 3 early corner kicks for Portland nearly ended up in a Dizpay goal.
Yeah, fantastic service from Marvin Loria there, and Dizpay just trying to get his head on that and angle it towards goal.
So those are 2 best opportunities for Portland in the first half. We move to the 18th minute, and Chris Weehan nearly found the back of the net.
And it's a nice switching ball there from Kasipli, and Weehan finds himself a 1v1. Mangles with an excellent save there, and very fortunate not to give up the first goal from that chance.
We move to the 29th minute, and as Reno grew into this match, more opportunities to score.
Yeah, and again, it's Kasipli to Hopino, and Hopino just trying to get that ball on net, but that came off of a poor pass from Zambrano there, and that was kind of the struggle for T2 in that first half, is just connecting passes, playing out of the back.
7 minutes later was the opener for Duke Lacroix.
Yeah, and Duke Lacroix just being very good, going 1v1 against Mulligan, and then just getting a nice hard cross on the ground, on goal, and Mangles not getting his feet right there, and the ball just squirting in there, the own goal for Mangles.
So that's where we stand at the break, 1-0 in favor of the visitors. As we look at the halftime stats, Reno out shooting Portland, out possessing Portland. Maybe the way T2 would like it given their numbers throughout the course of the year, but they're going to have to find more ways to create opportunities.
Yeah, and again, it's going to come down this half, having a reaction, having the right energy, making sure that they are playing front foot soccer, and it's got to come in these first 5 minutes for Cam Knowles' team if they want to have a chance at winning this match.
So we are just about set for the second half of action. Both teams back out on the field. And as we take into consideration Portland at the break, when they trail at halftime, they are just 2-6-0 this year. So a tough road to hoe for the home side, but never say never with this Portland Timbers 2 team. They pulled themselves out of a hole against Las Vegas Lights, gave up a goal early a couple matches ago, only to see a couple goals scored by T2 in the final 20 or so minutes of that match. 30 or 20 to be exact. Yeah, 72nd minute it was Victor Arboleda, and then 84th minute Renzo Zambrano to help T2 get the victory on the road in what turned out to be the final game for El Chalis as manager and technical director for Las Vegas Lights in their inaugural season. As this ball forward finds Langsdorff, who is in an offside position.
And we will miss El Chalis. We got to have a box right next to him when they they came and played at Providence Park, and he was the most animated technical director / coach I think that we've seen here during this season, and he's a fiery guy, no doubt about that.
It was certainly a benefit that he didn't know that there was a shade that he could have pulled down in between the booths, because he was certainly animated, and he wasn't afraid to be knocking on the window and asking us, was that a foul? Was it not a foul? Was it a goal? Was it not a goal? So certainly intriguing to interact as Mulligan's dribble forward knocked out a play by Duke Lacroix. We're underway in the second half. No substitutions for either side at the break. And here in the first 15 minutes of the second half, Nat, what do you need to see from Portland to show that they're up for the challenge of digging themselves out of this hole?
For me, it's two things. It's really, the first one is the energy. The energy has to be right for this team. The players have to be showing that sense of urgency, closing guys down, getting stuck into tackles. And then the second thing for me is going to be connecting passes. They were a bit sloppy in the first half. After that first 15 minutes with the ball, just connecting passes, simple passes in the midfield, certainly, and that front forward, they've just got to get on the ball and got to be more dangerous this second half.
You know, one of the things that we've seen throughout the course of the season with T2 is when there's been struggles as the offside flag is up, though T2 had won the ball, or upset with Malik Badawi, who apologizes for blowing the whistle, is the interchange that can and has existed between Laurie and Barmby to switch sides and mix things up. I mean, it's clear that Duke Lacroix here now on the near side can match Lauria for pace. Brent Richards isn't slow over there on the right side, but it would seem like that would open up more opportunities for Marvin Lauria to dribble 1v1 at Richards and potentially create opportunities for Langsdorff and some of his teammates.
Yeah, we've seen a lot more interchange between the T2 attacking players in this season. We haven't seen it enough tonight, and I think that that's what Reno has done very, very well, is they've interchanged a lot in their midfield, give different looks to different guys, and they've just been very, very good at finding the right spaces and going after this T2 defense. Although they haven't created a lot of scoring opportunities on T2, they just have been better on the ball overall.
As that ball rolls out to touch, Marvin Lauria is such a big part of this T2 side. Leads the team in assists with 7, chances created with 53, also has 6 goals on the year as well. So the player on loan from Deportivo Saprissa has been big in creating opportunities and putting the ball in the back of the net, or helping it set up his teammates for easy chances, but has been quiet tonight. And in some senses, you have to credit Reno for the effort that they've put forth to quiet him down.
Yeah, and you talk about Reno and their defensive structure. They're just been so good defensively.
Comes Barmby in space, takes the shot, saved by Bersano. Was going near post, Bersano was there, and relatively easy work for the 26-year-old Chandler, Arizona native.
And as I talk about how good defensively Reno has been, Jack Barmby finds that little space, that little seam in front of the back line, in behind that midfield 3 of Reno. And that's where T2 has got to be dangerous. They got to find those little seams and then be able to turn and run at that back line.
Well, we're seeing our first substitution of the night, and maybe a bit fortuitous. We talk about the success Marvin Lauria has had. He is the man coming off, and Harold Hansen is the player coming on. You remember midway through the first half, there was a coming together between Marvin Lauria and Duke Lacroix. You almost wonder if Lauria just wasn't able to get himself right. Both players went down. It was a bit of an awkward challenge. Lauria was called for the foul, but given that he's pulled off in the first 5 minutes of the second half, you wonder if maybe he picked something up in that collision, and it would certainly make sense with how little he's been involved, especially as the first half wore on.
Yeah, I think so. I think that that challenge probably, you know, he took a little bit of a knock there and just wasn't able to continue, and maybe that probably explains why he's been a bit quiet in this game, just trying to get into it, is because he's carrying something. And so obviously Cam Knowles going to the bench and bringing in a guy like Harold Hansen, who offers a different skill set certainly than Lauria does. Maybe not as technical of a player, but certainly he's got wheels. He's got a lot of speed. We've seen him score goals, especially, and get in behind defenses, you know, for this T2 team.
So Hansen comes in. It is his 14th appearance of the season, as the foul is called on Batista against Hopino. So Reno will have a restart.
As we can see here, some good defending there. Just getting a little bit too much of hoping, though. Looked like a fair challenge to me.
Harold Hansen has 1 goal on the season, came against Colorado Springs Switchbacks on June 17th. Boy, would he like to pick up his 2nd of the season here against Reno. Lewis, an important header win, ends up in a corner for Reno.
Yeah, very, very important win there for Lewis. Looks like Brent Richards was just on his backside nipping to get on the end of that cross.
So the 3rd corner kick of the night for the visitors. This one will be sprayed towards the penalty spot. Easy header win by Lamar Batista, controlled by Anguiano. Anguiano tries to shoulder Mfeka off the ball, and Mfeka fouls Anguiano. Maybe a bit lucky there to get that call, as Reno had seemingly turned over possession. Hansen's first action of the night. Anguiano central for Barmby. Barmby wider for Langsdorff. First touch, tries to work around Carroll. Takes the shot. Not much on it as he slipped down to the ground and ends up in a goal kick.
And we're seeing Barmby a lot more active here in this half, and Anguiano with the ball. Finds the run of Foster Langsdorff, who just can't quite get the right first touch there, and the defender there, Carroll, does a really good job of closing him down.
Anguiano fouled by Kasipli. Feels like he didn't foul him. Kasipli saying he's 120 pounds soaking wet. All over the top from Hansen, finds Mulligan. Mulligan goes down, no foul called, and a goal kick.
And that's always how I felt playing against players who were a lot smaller than me. If they went down way too easily, it was like, come on, man. You know, you're just a smaller player, and you obviously need to use your strength. But Anguiano, that's something he can actually use in his kit, is if you know, he gets a little bit of contact, you fall down, and you get that opportunity for a set piece in the final third.
Nearly 10 minutes into the 2nd half. Work by Anguiano to work around Aben. Now Barmby on a full run forward. Touched by Langsdorff, who's able to keep it in play, but Lacroix is there to dribble out. Some sustained pressure here from Portland. First real build-up they've had since probably about the 15-minute mark in the first half.
It's really coming from Jack Barmby being a lot more central in this half and just overloading the middle of the pitch. I think in that first half he was a little bit, he wasn't connected enough with that midfield 3, and now he's just coming inside, finding the right spaces and getting on the ball, and then trying to find Foster Langsdorff on the final ball.
Reno 1868, certainly one of the more unique names in USL. 1868 was the name voted on by their fans in a nod to when the city was originally founded.
You think that could go pretty much one of two ways, Fletcher. It could come out with a nice historical type of a name like Reno 1868, or it could come off something completely different. So I think ownership probably had the final say when it was all said and done.
Yeah. They're not the Reno Bodie McBoatfaces. You know, that was the big fad a couple years ago when they let people vote on nicknames for things.
Bodie McBoatfaces?
Bodie McBoatfaces.
Bodie McBoatfaces.
Yes. It's the 2nd year that Reno's been in existence. Herbert Simon owns the team, and they do have an affiliation with San Jose Earthquakes. So you'll see some San Jose Earthquakes on loan. Matt Bersano, the goalkeeper, is one of them. Chris Weehan, another. Danny Masovsky, who's not available for Reno tonight, was the quote-unquote T2 killer. Scored a pair of goals against them earlier this year. He is out with an injury. Also on loan from San Jose. Anguiano finds Langsdorff, who's onside, leaves the ball behind, tries to work it to that far post, but can't steer it on frame.
And this is so much better from T2 in this half from an attacking standpoint. Just finding those seams, Anguiano getting the ball, running that back line, and then finding Foster Langsdorff, who just can't quite get the ball on his left foot so he can get the opportunity off. But very well worked there from T2, finding those seams, playing the ball quickly, creating that opportunity.
Now tell me something, Nat. Foster Langsdorff, of course, in his first year out of Stanford, won 3 national titles while he was there. First professional season, it's obviously a lot different and a lot longer than the college game. You hear in other sports talk about hitting that rookie wall, if you will. Does that exist in your experience in soccer as much as it does in other leagues, as Dispay is fouled behind the play?
Yeah, it absolutely does. And I remember my head coach, Tim Hankinson, my first year as a professional, way back in 2003, having a conversation with myself, Casey Schmidt, Matt Crawford, all rookies on that Colorado Rapids team about that, hitting that wall, because you're used to a 3-month season, 3.5 months maybe in the college game, and then you jump up to the pros where you're looking at like a 9, even a 10-month season, and it just is brutal on your body because you're just not worth it, and so we're so used to it.
Ball over the top for Hansen. He chases it down top of the box, tries to play it over to Foster Langsdorff. It's deflected away and ends up in a corner kick.
T2 hitting their stride here offensively, and it comes on a nice ball there from Renzo Zambrano.
Quickly taken Anguiano into the box all the way through. It's Langsdorff over on the far side who picks it up. Back into the box, headed away by Carroll, and settled by Mulligan. T2 quickly took that corner kick. Hansen tries to work his way around Lacroix, does well to get by him.
And I was thinking Hansen could have taken a bite of the apple when that ball dropped there. Just let it drop, hit it first time on the volley, opts to take to cross the ball to the far post, and a great defensive play there. I believe it was Griffiths there coming back to defend. Nice work from him to save Reno from giving up the equalizer.
T2 certainly look up for it now. Best spell they've had all match. Barmby's shot takes a deflection and is out for another corner kick, the 5th of the night for T2.
I think we know that Cam Knowles did have words for his team at halftime, because this is a different T2 squad. The energy looks like it's there. The movement, the sense of urgency is certainly there for this club right now.
And maybe Jack Barmby had some words for himself. I know he would have been disappointed with his first half performance, but he's come out with his hair on fire here in the second half. He'll send the cross in right towards the goalkeeper. Shot taken, and it's cleared off the line. It looks like it was either Griffiths or Duke Lacroix who was there to keep the score line in favor of Reno. Here comes Jack Barmby again, and told to hold up. Malik Badawi blew his whistle right before Jack Barmby struck that ball. Having a conversation with Bersano as we look at the replay.
Yeah, and it looks like Lacroix, I believe.
That was Griffiths, yeah.
Griffiths with the clearance. So 2 clearances for Griffiths here in a matter of minutes. Doing a great job there on the line to make sure that Andre Lewis's shot doesn't go on goal.
Here comes a cross in from Barmby, finds Mulligan. A lot of bodies to try and get through, and once again it's that man, Brenton Griffiths. Not sure if that one was headed on frame, but Griffiths able to clear it out, and here comes Reno the other direction. Have a chance to counter. They'll slow things up a bit, and the offside flag was up on Hopino. As T2 quickly back to action, want to keep this pace up. Best spell, consistent spell for Portland here in the first hour of the match.
And it's really come from Barmby and Anguiano just getting into good spots behind that midfield 3 of Reno.
Here comes Brown, top of the box, settles, shot comes wide. There was a lot of power behind that one from Mfeka. And we'll see the first substitution of the night for Ian Russell in Reno 1868. It will be Brian Brown coming off in favor of the 28-year-old Double Oak, Texas native Jochen Graf, who's on loan from Tampa Bay Rowdies. Spent time 2013 to 16 in Germany and Sweden. Had 11 goals last year for Tampa Bay. Still looking to open his account this season with Reno, and this his 17th appearance.
It was a good shift for Brian Brown. He was very good with his movement inside the box, did a good job linking up at times, and just created some problems there for that back line for T2.
62nd minute, just joining us. Fletcher Johnson and Nat Borchers here with you at Merlo Field. Portland Timbers, too, looking to improve their playoff position, though this scoreline would mean Reno 1868 would clinch a playoff berth and move above Portland in the USL's Western Conference standings, as here comes Lacroix, full run ahead. Gets around Mulligan, and Dispay there to clean it up. And then Dispay taken down behind the play, no foul called, as Groff's first action is to challenge Dispay and earn his team a throw.
Wow, and how fast is Lacroix there? We just seen his lightning speed going across our booth there, and Harold Hansen, who's no slouch for speed, just getting beat there, and Dispay cleaning things up. But there's the danger when you need to go for a result, is obviously you're going to give up some spaces in behind, and I think that Reno's done a pretty good job of counterattacking the two opportunities I think they've had this half. So T2 has got to be careful, got to be wary, got to make sure the balance is right when they're attacking in this half.
Anguiano's fouled from behind. Voting for September's USL Player of the Month, Goal of the Month, and Save of the Month begins on Thursday afternoon and will run throughout the weekend. Have your say on which players should take home the awards. So Brenton Griffiths will get a talking to from Malik Badawi. Still the only yellow card of the night issued to Jack Barmby for simulation. Badawi taking his time with a restart. T2 carrying so much momentum, wanting to get this game back underway. Does finally get underway, and a foul on Weehan. And it looks like Weehan might go in the book here. Badawi's reaching into his left pocket.
As you can see here, Barmby just getting there in front of Weehan, and Weehan getting contact on him. I don't think there was any intent there to injure the player. Just Barmby just gets there first, and Badawi looks like he wanted to give him a card, but keeps it in the pocket.
So no card issue to Weehan. Barmby restarts from 40 yards away. Float it towards the back post. Bersano comes off his line and collects in the air. Drop kicks it. Groff is out there. Mulligan the only man back. So this is really a 1v1. Mulligan does well to force Groff to play backwards, and T2 able to recover defensively. T2 searching for that equalizer after giving up the first goal in the 36th minute. Had a good spell of possession and build up over the course of the last quarter hour, as Reno looks to settle things down a bit. Jochen Groff getting a few touches here and there. You see his experience. Played with a couple different clubs in USL, Rochester and Tampa Bay. As miscommunication there between Langsdorff and Barmby turns the ball back over to the visitors.
Yeah, Langsdorff just struggled a little bit tonight to really be involved in this match, and he's had a couple of chances here in the second half, but really in the link-up play, just haven't seen him as much as we might normally see him, get on the ball and connect a little bit.
Dispay, central for Hansen, heavy touch, and loses it to Mafeka.
I think the center backs for Reno have done a really good job of just limiting that space in front of the back line.
Here comes Barmby, will chip it over for Hansen, not enough on it. Carroll easily clears away. Every time Reno turns the ball over in their own half on a ball forward, Ian Russell is off the bench with his hands on his hips. Here comes Hopino, leaves the ball behind. Batista was there with him step for step. Though things starting to get a bit more stretched as Portland pushes numbers forward to find an equalizer. That ball deflects back to Barmby. Out of Hansen. Hansen and Barmby both playing out on the wings. They're standing 10 feet from one another. Now Zambrano works himself into the attack. Mulligan was making a square run. Zambrano thought he was making a diagonal run, and that ball goes across the end line.
Yeah, it seems like Reno's figured him out in this half. That first 15 minutes, the movement was really good from Barmby. It was really good. They were finding some of those little seams in behind that midfield three, but A-Bend has done a nice job. The two center backs have done a good job of just making sure that things are predictable and they're not allowing those guys to get on the ball in those areas of the field.
Looking at what Cameron Knowles still has available on his bench for the final 2 substitutions, he's got 3 forwards that are available. Devin Jamba, who's played in 5 matches this year, still yet to score. Augustine Williams, who has 4 goals this season in 25 appearances. And Gio Calixtro, the academy player who has 2 appearances here in 2018. Hansen with it central. Into space for Mulligan. Great first touch. Deflection. Carroll clears up into the air. Settled by Kasipli. And not enough pressure from T2, as that ball does roll across the sideline and out to touch. Quickly back in. Over the top for Hansen. Griffiths touches it, tries to keep it in, but it is a corner kick for Portland, their 6th of the night. Barmby will come over to take.
It was really well worked here. As you can see, Hansen playing the ball out to Mulligan, who just trying to get the ball back across, and a very good job from Lacroix coming back to defend.
Barmby taking his time, sends it in. Header won by Carroll out to the corner of the box. Anguiano, nice touch to keep it away from Weehan. Back into space for Barmby. Not on his favored left foot, gets it around Lacroix, sends it back post. Header won by Groff and away from goal, only as far as Lewis. Zambrano fouled from behind by Groff, who can't believe it. Will we see a yellow card finally shown here? And this will be a dangerous opportunity for Portland to try and equalize from about 25 yards away. So Groff does go in the book. A substitute in the second half for Ian Russell's side. Picks up the yellow card, his first of the year.
And this ball pops out to Zambrano, who's looking to line it up. We know he can shoot from distance, and looks like Groff just getting a little bit of him and taking him down. He looks like he's shocked at the call, but it looked like a foul from up here.
Billy Baldwin and Cameron Knowles having a discussion. Regardless, Jack Barmby is dangerous from this distance. Has a couple goals this year on restarts and free kick opportunities. Jadama and Barmby are the 2 players standing over it. And now Jadama walks away. So this will be Barmby. And you'd have to believe that this is going to be a shot. Dizpay is in that wall, as is Jadama.
And if I'm Jack Barmby, I'm trying to just get it over that far left side of the wall into that far post. Try to curl it around or over the top of the wall with some pace into that corner that the goalkeeper is not standing. Very difficult to do, but Jack Barmby certainly has it in his locker.
Big moment for Barmby, who's looking for his 7th goal. He'll curl it, and saved by Bersano. What a play by Matt Bersano. In the end, was probably relatively easy for him, but a big save for Matt Bersano in Reno.
And he makes this look very easy because of his positioning and his movement there. And Jack Barmby just doesn't get enough pace on it, and Bersano was always leaning that way. Good save, though, from the goalkeeper.
Matt Bersano undefeated when he has started for this Reno side, has 4 clean sheets and saved 70% of the shots that he's faced. Familiar to many Pacific Northwest folk, went to Oregon State,
from 2011 to 2014 and had 54 appearances. And while he was in college, played with Lane United down in Eugene in 2014-15. Final 20 minutes for Portland to try and find an equalizer and end their home slate on a positive note. All Reno needs is a point to clinch their playoff berth, but boy, would it be sweet to pick up 3 on the road.
I've just been really impressed with Griffiths playing out of the back. He's just so smooth on the ball. He can dribble out of the back. He's got good vision, really able to link up and connect with his midfield and his forwards.
So Badawi having a discussion with Mfeka, who knocked the ball away from Zambrano after the foul.
Yeah, it looks like just a coming together of the bodies, and the call goes Mfeka's way. Zambrano not happy with it.
Ball sprayed over the top from Dizpay, too high for Anguiano. On the other end, Carroll plays the long ball forward for Groff, who was never going to get on the end of that one. Doesn't have quite the pace of Brian Brown, does Jochen Groff. Ball turned inside from Batista, couldn't find his man. Important cutout there by Jadama. And now here comes Kasipli into the box, defended by Lewis. Central for Weehan, who can't square it up. He'll want better from himself when he watches the tape of that. But a dangerous moment averted for Portland.
Yeah, Kasipli just being so dangerous here with that touch, just gets him into space. Thought he might cross the ball.
Here comes Langsdorff the other direction. He's 1v1 versus Griffith. First touch lets him down a bit. Now top of the box, takes a shot, deflection, and saved by Bersano.
Just end-to-end stuff here, Fletcher. Can't even get the other replay in.
Dizpay wins that one in front of Groff, who's once again called for a foul. Yeah, you'd have to imagine that if Portland has their way, this thing's going to open up a lot in the last 15 minutes. Allow for some opportunities to try and find that equalizer.
Yeah, and they just have to continue to do what they've been doing and just keep the ball moving, make the simple passes. Things are opening up for them, and as Reno just gets more tired as this game goes on, they're going to find their opportunities. But the simple passes, they have to make sure they come off, because whenever they lose the ball in possession with just a simple pass, Reno is just going to be coming right down their throats.
Lewis floats it in. Anguiano gets ahead to it. Then Hansen touches it with his head, cleared away eventually by Weehan. Only as far as Mulligan, whose first pass finds Weehan instead of his intended target, Jack Barmby. And Reno now allowed to come the other direction. Abe end for Groff. A lot of experience on this Reno side, everyone pretty much age 24 or older.
And that was one of the things I think Cam Knowles wanted to focus on this year, is bringing in some guys with experience. Last year, T2, a bit inexperienced, a lot of younger players, and making sure you're mixing that youth with that experience, that talent with those players who understand how to get results. I think that's been a big difference in the makeup of this team this year.
This T2 team certainly does have belief, so while it may seem like the doors are closing in as Mfeka tries to work around Dizpay and earns himself a corner kick. T2 were never out of a match, as they showed against Las Vegas Lights. They showed it against Fresno.
And Mfeka just getting in there and behind the T2 back line. And Dizpay does really well just to make up that ground, cover, get his feet moving, and just touch that ball, get that ball out to a corner kick. Very well done from Dizpay, because Mfeka was 1v1.
Before this corner kick is struck, we'll move into the final 15 minutes of the match. Weehan strikes it near post. Aben gets something on it. No, Mulligan was the player who touched it first, out for another corner kick.
I have to say that the T2 has defended really well in these set pieces. Nice job by Mulligan there for defending the near post. I feel like they've really done a good job of matching up 1v1 in the box here on these set pieces.
Weehan to strike it again. This time Aben does win the header, but finds Barmby at the top of the box. Barmby now into space for Zambrano. Zambrano touches around Lacroix, and now in a foot race, and Lacroix is going to win that 99 times out of 100. Although Zambrano does well to force Lacroix to play it out to touch. Quickly thrown in for Langsdorff in the box. Langsdorff defended by Carroll. Strong challenge in the box from Carroll to win that one away from Langsdorff. That's a dangerous chance to take for Zach Carroll, the 23-year-old, the only player under the age of 24 on the field right now for Reno. But he does well to win it.
Yeah, both center backs have done a great job at emergency defending, you know, getting down in those situations near the box where they have to make plays, and they've done a good job. Griffiths and Carroll just making sure they're getting back and showing that sense of urgency to defend for their team.
It's interesting, Nat, as we watch this match play out. It seems like a lot of Portland's attack has come down this right-hand side. Not much has come down the left-hand side throughout the course of the evening, but here in the second half on that far side of the field, yet you have one of the most athletic, speedy players for Reno in defense here on the near side, Duke Lacroix. As Jadama with an important win in front of Groff.
I think T2 is just more comfortable attacking down the side of Mulligan. With Batista, he's not typically an attacking type of an outside back. He's used to playing centrally. He's done a great job out there on the left, but I just don't think that there's going to be many attacking opportunities out there just with the makeup and the dynamic on that left-hand side. And you could see Jack Barmby, the way he's been coming into the middle, overloading this right-hand side. Obviously, it's going to limit the opportunities to go down that left-hand side.
You wonder how much Langsdorff has left in the legs. He tried to chase that one down after he was unable to do so due to the shielding from Brent Richards. Slammed his right foot into the advertising boards on the other side of the end line.
Yeah, it's been a frustrating night for Foster. Langsdorff just hasn't been able to get on the end of anything. He's been making good runs. He's been working very hard, but I think you have to give a lot of credit to this Reno defense. Both center backs have just done a nice job of shutting him down.
Still a couple subs left for Cameron Knowles. And it looks like one is getting ready. Augustine Williams is putting on his kit and will get a chance to try and come out and find the equalizer in the final 12 minutes. Mulligan touches down into the corner for Hansen. Hansen trying to use his pace, but again, it's Lacroix there. And again, he is just about as athletic of a left back as you're going to find in USL, and wins it away from Hansen. Reno releases pressure. You hear the T2 faithful here in the building trying to cheer their team on to find an equalizing goal. As Groff once again called for a foul, he's kind of at this point befuddled in terms of what he's supposed to do.
Yeah, he's obviously coming into the game. Ian Russell telling him to hold the ball up, make things difficult for those center backs, make runs in behind, see if you can get yourself another chance.
Griffiths cuts out that through ball intended for Langsdorff. T2 just hasn't been able to win the ball back quick enough here in the last 10 to 15 minutes to keep the pressure on Reno. Here comes Hopino. We'll play it across for Groff. Diz pays there. Clears it away. Back to Hopino. And then Lewis does well to win the ball away. Langsdorff holds up play a bit. Back for Lewis. We'll float it out to this near side. Final 10.5 minutes plus stoppage time. The 37th minute goal from Duke Lacroix still holding up. He chases that ball down there, can't keep it in play though.
Yeah, and that guy seems to have a ton of energy out there, just chasing things down, making things difficult for T2.
So here is the switch that shows Portland's going for it all. Augustine Williams, the forward, on in place of the defender Jimmy Mulligan. So we'll have to see how this shakes out.
Yeah, it looks like he's just going to go in, slide in up top next to Foster Langsdorff. And then I guess That means that there'll be a back three with Dispay, Jadama, and Batista. And you certainly have to go for it. 10 minutes left in the game, and playoff seeding on the line.
And foul called on Zambrano. His way this time. And now these moments become great opportunities for Reno to take the air out of the ball. T2 have been good this year, still plenty of opportunities to grow. Renzo Zambrano was quoted this week as saying it's great to be in the playoffs, it'd be great to have a home match, but regardless, you have to win the tough games, whether they're at home or on the road.
And I think this was, as we said in the open, this was an important dress rehearsal for this T2 team to get a taste of what it might be like in the playoffs. They haven't been there yet. They're playing a team that has a lot of experience. They're playing a team that, let's be honest, is a bit desperate. They want to get into the playoffs, and Reno has played a very good game tonight against this T2 team. So I think there's going to be some learning opportunities, coming away from this result.
It's interesting the way this match was sold, in that Portland's already in the playoffs. Reno's looking to clinch a playoff berth, and so it seemed like there was a lot more on the line for Portland in terms of playoff seeding. But same thing for Reno. They still have a chance. As Bersano misplays this ball, it goes over the head of Carroll and off of Langsdorf's chest. I think he couldn't believe that that one worked its way all the way through to him, and that he had a chance with an open net 8 yards away.
And this was, for me, the best chance of the night for Foster Langsdorf. The ball just gets looped in there. Goalkeeper is just in no man's land, and I don't think Foster Langsdorf knows it's coming in, and unfortunately just can't get the right touch on the ball. Defender and the goalkeeper coming together. Not sure who's going after it, but a lovely ball in there from T2. Unfortunate for Foster Langsdorf not to get on the end of it.
And it's, as they say, Nat, a match of moments. And Duke Lacroix took advantage of a deflection off of Alex Mangles that ended up rolling into the back of the net and put Reno out in front. And then here on the other side, Foster Langsdorf had an opportunity. Again, tough because he didn't know that much about it, but would love to have that one back. We'll be thinking about that one tonight if it ends up 1-0.
Yeah, and the quality of the cross is going to be so important for T2 in the later stages of this game, with two strikers playing up top. A lot of space out there on the flanks. Just getting runners into the box and making things difficult for those center backs is what T2 needs to do to try and get that next opportunity.
Anguiano. Wide for Batista. Prep touch. Sends the cross in, deflects off of the defender, Brent Richards, and out for a corner kick. We'll see the next substitution from Reno here momentarily. It won't come at this dead ball, but it will be Jordan Merle coming on. And now before the Barmby corner kick. 8th of the night for Portland. Sent in, floated in. Jadama rises to win the header, cannot do so, and Groff gets the first touch to it. Reno actually clears it back towards their own end line, and Carroll finally works it out towards midfield, where it's picked up by Lewis. Wonderful little spin move to keep the ball away from Hopino and Groff. And could this be the moment? No, cut out by Lacroix. And now Hopino was in his own half. Jadama chasing back. Hopino's 1v1 versus Mangles. Groff back of the net. 2-0 Reno.
And Reno just taking advantage there with the numbers down in the back. Lewis with the turnover, and then Hopino getting in behind, makes the smart pass to Groff there. Easy finish there for him. Very smart heads-up play from Hopino. That's why he's got his 13th assist in this game, or in this season. And 2-0 now for Reno. They seem to be in the driver's seat.
And how about this? We talk about Danny Masovsky, the role he's played this year for this Reno side against T2. Antoine Hopino has every assist on every Reno goal against T2 this season. all 4 goals, or I should say 4 of the 5 now, because the first one did not come off of an assist from Hopeno, but 4 of the 5 now are because of Antoine Hopeno and the work he's done. Hopeno with that assist. He now has tied Chris Wehan with 12 assists on the season. That's a club tied for the club record.
And you talked earlier, Fletch, about big moments and making sure you're making the right decisions in big moments. Hopeno knows how to make the right decisions in those big moments. He knows how to expose teams. He's just done a very good job in these games, especially against T2, of making them pay. You know, when the opportunities are on. And credit to him, he gets into space. T2 commits the numbers forward, and they obviously take advantage.
So now the hole dangerously deep for T2. Langsdorff into space for Batista. He won't get there in front of Richards, who plays it out to touch. T2 will make their 3rd substitution. It'll be Andre Lewis, the defensive midfielder, out for Gio Calixtro, who will make his 3rd appearance. The Timbers Academy player will come on. And another body forward for Portland. Well, T2 have had matches that they'll look back on and rue their missed opportunities. You'd have to imagine that this would be one of them.
And I think that first 15 minutes of this half was the best opportunities that T2 were going to get against this team. They really came out with that energy, came out with the fire that we were expecting them to see off of halftime, but unfortunately just weren't able to get the final touch. And I think that Reno did a really good job of just buckling down, absorbing that pressure that first 15 minutes, and then they made T2 pay. They made T2 pay off of a turnover, and it sent numbers forward, and that's what good teams do, and Reno has done a great job this season of executing on situations like that.
Central for Barmby. Puts it back on his man. Will now send the cross in, and it looked like the T2 player there, Augustine Williams, maybe got his head to it, but he couldn't steer it towards net. Anguiano out wide to Barmby. Barmby prep touch, serves it in. Langsdorff tries to get to it, but Carroll wins it. Now Groff 1v1 versus Dizpay.
You'd have to say Groff has come in and done a really nice job. That's going to have to be a yellow card there.
Yep, Harold Hansen will receive a yellow card, taking down Groff.
You'd have to say Groff has done a very good job of coming into this game and just doing his job. His job was to come in. The team is up 1-0, so his job is to be a hold-up type of a player. If he gets an opportunity on goal, he's got to finish. He did that, keeping the ball for his team now, killing the game. Gamesmanship, very important for him, and he's done a fantastic job. As we see here, Hansen just getting in late. Definitely some cynicism in that challenge. Certainly no doubt that's a yellow card on Hansen.
Select is the official soccer ball of the USL. For the latest Select product and special offers, please visit www.selectsportamerica.com. Receive free shipping on orders over $50. So Groff will come off in favor of Mohamed Cha. So a substitute for a player who was brought on as a substitute. Groff off, Chow on.
Don't often see that, do we? The substitute coming off for a substitute.
He came in, got his goal, and now he's taking his ball and going home.
Fair enough.
Still another substitution to make for Reno. Obviously, as you might imagine, they will make them separately. They'll hold this one, though, as Mangles has the restart. We cross into the 90th minute. Nope, we will see the substitution now. That was very odd that they waited literally until Mangles kicked the ball to stop play and send on Jordan Merle. And of course,
Number 10,
Lindo Mfeka will come off. And Jordan Morel will come on. And just one body forward now for Reno. They'll put everyone behind the ball. Langsdorf wins the header. Griffiths heads it the other direction. Now ends up with the feet of Chow rather, I should say. Well, I think it's fair to say that on the course of the night, over 90 minutes, Reno was the better side tonight. And they carry a ton of momentum into their final 2 matches of the regular season before the playoffs.
Yeah, I think it's been an experienced performance from this Reno side. They absorbed pressure, I think, in the first 15 minutes of either side of the half, and then they were able to then bring that forward and get their opportunities, take their opportunities, finish, and then I think defensively they were very, very good. I was really impressed with the back line as a whole, how well they defended. The midfield did a good job of possession, and then they just really have done a good job of killing this game off when T2 really needed some crucial moments to get opportunities. They just couldn't get them because they couldn't get the ball. And again, I think it's important to remember where this T2 team was last year, the success that they've experienced and the growth that they've had this year. This is a process. You know, you have the success, get yourself into the playoffs this year. Now, how do you build upon that moving forward? Obviously, disappointment to not walk away with a better result here tonight, but you still have the playoffs. You'll still have an opportunity to challenge on the road, most likely at this point, an opponent. And I think it's important for Cam Knowles' team. They've done a good job on either side of the half of coming out with that right energy. Either side, the first 15 of the first half and the first 15 of the second half. But there are just stretches there where they just looked a little bit lost. They just weren't able to get the possession. They weren't able to have the right energy. And we've seen that when they've had a complete performance, they've been able to get dominant results. And they do have great talent on this team. They do got some good veteran players. They do play very, very well in this formation. So certainly a learning experience playing against this Reno side, and maybe it's a side they get to play and match up with again. They can take a few things away. Final seconds of this match. Langsdorf dribbles across the top of the box, and there is the final whistle. And Ian Russell not happy with the 4th official, Billy Baldwin, really just screaming at him for the last 2 minutes of this match. Almost in a sense forgetting he's up 2 goals here with his attitude and the way that he's accepting this victory, and 3 points and a playoff berth for his side this evening. That, you know, so many positives over the course of this season. This night will be remembered as a bit of a disappointment for T2. The final home match of the regular season, but still so much to play for as they head back out on the road before the playoffs begin in mid to late October. Yeah, certainly. And again, it came down to that energy. The possession just wasn't quite right, connecting passes in that first half. But certainly a lot still to play for. One more game left in the regular season for this club. They're in the playoffs already. Some things to take away from this game, I think, and certainly a lot of positivity moving forward for Cam Knowles' side. Well, let's go ahead and take a look back at the match highlights from this one, and it started early. We knew there was going to be opportunities for goals to be scored, and it was in the 4th minute, Foster Langsdorf. Yeah, Foster Langsdorf just getting in behind that back line, which they did early on in this game, and trying for the cheeky chip over the goalkeeper, but unfortunately doesn't come off for him. We move a couple minutes later into the 7th minute, and it was Arturo Dispay, header off the crossbar. Yeah, Dispay just trying to get on the end of that one, stepping back. Nobody's marking him, and unfortunate not to get a little bit closer to goal for him. For the 18th minute, it was Reno with their first real opportunity. It's a switching ball there from Kasipli that finds Weehan, and he just can't get it on his left foot. It's a good save from Mangles, a strong save here. As you can see, he just comes inside on his right foot, favored Mangles with a save, and then no opportunity for Reno to come back on that one. At about the half-hour mark, it was a Portland turnover that nearly gave Reno the lead. Yeah, and turnovers were really hurting the T2 in the first half. team like Reno those kinds of chances, and Hopino almost takes his chance there.
37th minute, you could say the man of the match, Duke Lacroix, found the back of the net.
Yeah, Duke Lacroix just running at Jimmy Mulligan, beating him to the line, and Mangle just not getting his feet right. It's unfortunate. Goes into his own net, but just look at Lacroix and the way he lines up Mulligan and just crosses the ball with some force. Goes into the back of the net.
Lacroix's first goal of the season. And in the 53rd, Langsdorff would want that one back.
Yeah, and the first 15 were really positive in the second half for T2. Barmby coming in, making himself a difference, and playing those final passes to Foster Langsdorff. Just doesn't come off there. Anguiano here playing to Foster Langsdorff into space. Langsdorff trying to get the ball on his left foot, just can't get enough pace on it. Good defending, though, from Reno here. They were really able to emergency defend. They did a very impressive job in that back line for Reno.
And in the 82nd minute, fell to Langsdorff. Didn't know how much he knew about it.
The best chance of the game, I think, for T2, and Langsdorff just couldn't quite figure that one out. Thought the ball maybe would have gotten by Bersano and just couldn't get it.
And here comes Reno's icing on the cake for the evening.
No surprise. It comes from Hopino. He's able to find Groff there. It's an easy finish for him, but just staying on that half line and then making the run in behind here, seeing the runner there, squaring it to him. Groff with an easy finish. The icing on the cake. 2-0 to Reno final.
And important to note, that's why there was no offside called, is Hopino started in his own half. So there was no offside potential there. We look at the total. Hey, what do you know? T2 outshot Reno, but find themselves on the wrong side of the scoreline, 13-11. Picked up more of the possession in the second half, but just didn't have that finishing quality tonight.
Yeah, I think that it's so important for this team
to come out and get that first goal in these games. And again, very disappointing in the result for this team, but still a lot to play for left in the season for T2.
One final match in the regular season for Portland Timbers 2. It will be October 13th against Phoenix Rising. That's a week from this Saturday. It's at 6 p.m. down in Arizona. How does Portland Timbers 2 finish this 2018 season and head into the playoffs? Want to be carrying momentum. We'll see what that game holds here in a few 10 short days from now. For our entire broadcast team here at Merlo Field, our producer Jose Navarez and my broadcast partner Nat Borchers, I'm Fletcher Johnson. Thanks for joining us here this evening. Reno 1868 continues to play games with the Portland Timbers 2, winning all three matchups this season. 2-0 tonight here at Merlo Field. We'll talk to you hopefully in the playoffs here in Portland, Oregon.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League may not be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.